Hi guys, good evening and welcome to the Gradeup IAS YouTube channel. You're watching me live here on YouTube. Good evening to all of you. My name is Harshmeet Singh. As you would know by now, I usually teach polity, governance and international relations at Gradeup. It's a Monday, beginning of a new week. What it also means is beginning of a new mini series. So what we do is, as you have seen in the last 2 weeks, we have been doing mini series from Monday to Friday, trying to cover one important topic in 5 lectures. In the beginning, we tried to cover the higher judiciary, we covered the Supreme Court and High Court of India. Last week, we covered constitutional bodies of the country. We covered all the constitutional bodies one by one from your examination point of view. This week, starting from Monday, this mini series is about the second ARC recommendations. In this week, we will try and cover in 5 videos the important recommendations given by the second Administrative Reforms Commission. ARC, as you know, is a pretty important report that many of you as an aspirant would be looking to read. आप किसी से भी पूछोगे कि रिपोर्ट्स कौन सी पढ़नी चाहिए, एवरीवन वुड टेल यू कि भाई ARC रिपोर्ट पढ़नी चाहिए, ARC इज इम्पोर्टेंट, राइट? सब लोग ये बोलते हैं. However, within the ARC reports also, ARC reports में भी there are a lot of reports. एक ARC report एक single report नहीं होती है. ARC report means there are a lot of reports. So now you can't remember all those. Sari reports and sare points you can't remember. So in this video, what we are planning to do is we are planning to make sure that all the important pointers have been covered in this pura video series. We will be taking up the important reports of ARC and discussing their relevant recommendations that have been given. And you can see some of them have been implemented and some of them have not been implemented by the government. Now, ARC stands for Administrative Reforms Commission. This is the second ARC we are talking about, meaning that obviously there was a first ARC also. ARC is a commission usually established by the government of India to suggest how to improve the administration of India. The first ARC was established way back when Morarji Desai became the chairman of the first ARC. The second ARC, however, came up in 2005 when Veerappa Moily, that is the Congress minister, a well-known Congress leader, he was made the chairman. The task that was given was very simple, that is, they had to suggest how to improve the governance and how to improve the administration in the country in every single aspect. They were given a free hand. They could talk about any matter, they could talk about any area, any sector, and they gave a lot of reports in their eventual reading. A total of 15 reports were given, 15 reports by the ARC. Right to information, unlocking human capital, crisis management, ethics and governance, public law and order, local governance, capacity building, combating terrorism, social capital, refurbishing personal administration, promoting e-governance, citizen-centric administration, organizational structure of the government of India, strengthening the financial management systems, and state and district administration. These are the total 15 reports that have been given. I just told you the titles of all these reports. Now, as I said earlier, it is not possible for you to read all the reports and remember all these points. So in this mini series, what we will be doing is we will be picking up the important reports and discussing the relevant recommendations that have been given, so that there are people or there are aspirants who can just spend some time and make sure that they have covered most of the second ARC. In today's class, we will be discussing about report number 4. If you read the list carefully, the list that I showed you about the 15 reports, the report number 4 is a report on ethics in governance. So we will be talking about ethics in governance. What did the report say? What were the recommendations of this particular report? Now, There are many pointers that they talked about, and I'll be touching on those, starting with the tightening of the anti-defection law. Anti-defection law, as you know, is written in schedule number 10 of the Indian Constitution. So anti-defection law is a part of the 10th schedule. It was inserted in the Constitution as 52nd Amendment 1985, when there was a lot of instability and members of parliament, members of legislative assemblies, they kept on changing their parties. To prevent that from happening, anti-defection law was introduced. The concept of anti-defection law is if you change your party, if you vote against your party, if you don't follow the directions of your own party, then as an MLA or as an MP, you will be disqualified from the house. As simple as that. This is the entire concept. Now, there are some exceptions also, as you would know. However, let's not focus on exception. Let's first focus here. One of the other things about anti-defection law is, importantly, in the anti-defection law, the decision about the disqualification is not taken by the President of India. The decision about disqualification in anti-defection law is actually taken by the presiding officer of the House. So in Lok Sabha, it is a Lok Sabha Speaker. In Rajya Sabha, it is a Rajya Sabha Chairperson. Whoever is the presiding officer of the House, they decide about disqualification. Now, this is where it becomes problematic. Just take an example of current Lok Sabha. Let's imagine a Congress MP leaves his party, joins the BJP in Lok Sabha. Ideally, the person should be disqualified. Who would take the decision for disqualification? The Lok Sabha Speaker. Now, Lok Sabha Speaker belongs to which party? Although he has to act neutral, but you all know he belongs to BJP. So, do you think he would be happy in disqualifying this person who has come from Congress to BJP? Obviously not. Obviously, the speaker or whoever is the presiding officer will be biased in favor of his party, right? So he would never want to disqualify the person. That is a problem with the anti-defection law. So the suggestion is, if the decision of disqualification is to be taken in the anti-defection law, that should not be decided by the presiding officer. That should be decided by the president or the governor only. It should not be decided by the presiding officer. The president or the governor, they are the ones who should take the decision with the advice that is of the Election Commission of India. The other suggestion is about disqualification of members of parliament. Now, right now, the law is, if you are a member of parliament or member of legislative of a state, if you are given punishment of 2 years or more by the judges, you will be disqualified immediately. You have to leave your position immediately if you are given a jail term of 2 years or more. The suggestion is, we should not wait for that. The suggestion is, even before waiting for that, if there is a very serious case against a person, if there is a very serious offense against a person, then rather than waiting that we will go or the case will go on and then the punishment will be given and then let's see if the punishment is 2 years or more, rather than waiting for all of that, what should be done actually is that if a very serious case is going on against a member of parliament or member of state legislature, he or she should be disqualified. Again, under heinous offenses or corruption. Apart from that, when you fight elections, you have to fill up a form to give detail about if there is a pending case on you, are there any charges that are imposed on you. Other suggestion is, if any of the information given by the person, given by the candidate, is found to be false, any false declaration made should be grounds for disqualification. Even if the slightest of information is found to be false, that should be a ground for disqualification. The person should be disqualified immediately for those reasons. The other suggestion is about publication of account by political parties. Now, for many years now, there has been this debate that political parties should come under RTI. The reason is that they have so much money, so much donations. Just today, I in one newspaper, I saw 7 or 8 ads of different states thanking the Prime Minister for distributing free vaccines, and then ad from BJP together. So all that is money that the government or the party is spending. How are they getting their money? No one knows. The political parties are not open to RTI. They don't disclose information. No one knows from where they are getting the money. They always have this excuse that we are telling the election commission. That is fine. But that again is not enough. Publication of accounts by the political parties in India is also one of the biggest demands that people have had in the past. So that is also a suggestion that has been given, that political parties should publish their accounts. When I say publish their account, what we usually mean is they should tell everyone from where are they getting the money. They should tell everyone from where exactly are they spending the money. They should tell everyone what is the source of that money, so that before voting, people can decide whether they want to support this political party or not. The Election Commission of India is also in favor of this, but the problem is these kind of changes can only be made when political parties want. Why? Because at the end of the day, they control the parliament. They will decide what types of laws to be passed and not to be passed. So unless they decide that yes, we want to open up our accounts, unless they decide that yes, we had to show people where are we getting the money from, we will not be able to have that particular change. So that is also a recommendation given by the ARC. Another recommendation in the Ethics and Governance report is about coalition. India is a multi-party system, so having a coalition government is very common. But the problem with coalition governments is when before the election there are different coalitions, and after the election the coalitions are different. Let's take an example of Maharashtra. So in Maharashtra, before the elections, BJP and the Shiv Sena fought the elections together. Congress and the NCP fought the election on the other side. Once the elections were over, because of whatever problems happened between Shiv Sena and the BJP, as a result, Congress, NCP and Shiv Sena are now together in a government. That is a coalition formed after the election results. Now the problem is, in this case, it is against what the people wanted. The people who wanted Shiv Sena and BJP government, they voted for Shiv Sena. The people who would have wanted Congress government would have voted for Congress government. So when you mix and match, when you make coalitions after the election, that is what ARC says should not be allowed. If coalitions are made after the election, then fresh election should be called, because people should decide whether they want this particular coalition to be in the government or not. So if a new coalition is formed, then a fresh mandate would have to be asked. People should vote again, decide whether they want to have this combination of people working. Because again, as I said, Maharashtra is a prime example. People who wanted BJP plus Shiv Sena voted for Shiv Sena, but they got Shiv Sena, Congress and NCP in return. So that is something that goes against the entire logic of democracy. The other problem is appointment of the Chief Election Commissioner. Now this is very interesting. In a democracy like India, Chief Election Commissioner or Election Commission of India by itself holds very high importance. People have said that Election Commission of India is as important as the Supreme Court, because they decide everything about the elections. From the date of the election to the venue, to the polling station, who will vote, who will not vote, political parties, etc. Every single thing is decided by the Election Commission of India. So the person who heads the Election Commission, that is the Chief Election Commissioner. The problem is the appointment of Chief Election Commissioner happens in such a way that the government just gives a name to president and president appoints that person. And the government is free to appoint anyone. There is no eligibility criteria. There is no committee or commission that is formed. opposition parties who are not in the government have no right to give any of their views. What do they think about it? Nothing of that sort happens. That is why the chief election commissioner and the chief election commissioner, who are actually the head and responsible for ensuring Indian democracy works in a fruitful manner, his own election at many times has become a center of controversy. It has happened even recently. There is an election commissioner that has been appointed. There are many allegations that, see, all of them are from UP elections are coming, etc., etc. But the best way to do it, or the best way to deal with this criticism, is rather than having just the government suggest to the president who will be the next election commissioner, there should be a committee where government and opposition members also, they can sit together and they can then decide who will be the next election commissioner, rather than having just the government decide, because it will obviously give a bigger hand to the government. Government usually appoints those bureaucrats in the election commission which are close to the government. So that is a big suggestion given by many parties. Now, the suggestion is there should be a commission having Prime Minister, Lok Sabha Speaker, Leader of Opposition in Lok Sabha, Law Minister, Deputy Chairman of Rajya Sabha. All these people should decide, and they should then give a name to the President of India. Obviously, in this commission, government will have the majority. There is no problem with that. But at least opposition members should have a role to play. At least they should be able to suggest a name. At least we should have debate on certain names, because these are so important bodies where government alone should not be given the chance to decide who shall be the next election commission. Apart from that, there are also suggestions about disqualification for membership. That is, right now there are some reasons on which the members of parliament, etc., are disqualified, but they are not very clearly mentioned. They are open to interpretation, and that is why there are no clear-cut details. This is how, under this circumstances, a member will be disqualified. So the grounds for disqualification of members, the reasons for disqualification also are not very clear. That also brings a problem with this particular situation. The last recommendation that we will talk about is the judiciary part. Now, if you have read the Supreme Court, I am sure you would have read about the 3 judges cases, the collegium system. In the past, multiple governments, multiple commissions have spoken against the collegium system. Collegium is Supreme Court Chief Justice and 4 other judges of Supreme Court sitting together and deciding who shall be the next Supreme Court judge. They will give a name to the President of India to decide the next Supreme Court judge. Again, the problem is that in the collegium, government has no role to play. So appointment of judges in High Court or in the Supreme Court are completely beyond the hands of the Government of India. The Government of India has no role to play. Even if they want certain person to be in the Supreme Court, they can only suggest a name to collegium, and then the collegium decides whether they want to take it forward or not. There have been multiple committees that have said that collegium system should be removed and replaced with a committee kind of a thing. Similarly, this is what the ARC said. There should be a council of people to decide the next Supreme Court judge. They can include Vice President, Prime Minister, Lok Sabha Speaker, Chief Justice of India, the Law Minister, Leader of Opposition in both the houses, and if matters of High Court are discussed, then Chief Justice of that High Court. This is a suggestion to remove or replace the collegium system with this council, so that the appointment of judges in the Supreme Court or High Court is not just in the hands of the judiciary, because even the judiciary is not beyond any corruption charges. Remember this. Let's not assume that corruption is only at the politician, legislative or executive level. Even at the level of the judiciary, there is corruption. So there are chances of a biased decision taken by the judiciary, because the judiciary wants someone to come in the Supreme Court. That is the last suggestion we will discuss in this Ethics in Governance report by the second ARC. This was the first lecture in the mini series, as I told you, this week from Monday to Friday. I will be discussing with you 5 videos. हम लोग 5 अलग-अलग reports discuss करेंगे ARC की, and we will cover all the important ARC recommendations in this particular week. Now, if you want to join the Gradeup Super subscription, there's a great chance for you because today and tomorrow, केवल 2 दिन के लिए, there is an ongoing sale and you will get flat 50% off. Use the code DAD50. This sale started yesterday on the occasion of Father's Day. That is why the code is DAD50. Make sure you subscribe to Gradeup Super. Prepare yourself to become the next big IAS officer and make your dad proud of yourself. You can join the IAS 2021 crash course, 2022 or 23 revision courses. The IAS course, over 500 live interactive classes, over 500 notes, mock tests, and lot more. This is the process to buy the Gradeup Super subscription. Go to the Gradeup app, select Gradeup Super, select the plan 21, 22 or 23, or just renewing your EPFO subscription. Use the coupon code, that is DAD50, and make the payment and become Gradeup Super member to get access to all running and upcoming courses, structured study plans, expert faculties, best study material, mock tests, sectional tests, and lot more. These are the faculty members who will be teaching you in the IAS course. All of them are highly experienced. Many of them have given their own interviews, including myself. I teach polity, governance, and international relations at Gradeup. There are other teachers like Abhishek sir for history, Kovar sir for economics, Vasu sir for ethics and economics, Pradeep sir for polity, Rohan sir for geography, and many other people for UPSC as well as for state PSC examinations. We are also on Telegram. The channel name is Gradeup IAS Preparation. Search for this and join the channel. You will get free study material and short notes on this channel. Thank you so much for joining, guys. Do join me tomorrow also for part 2 of this mini series. Till then, bye guys. Take care of yourself. Good night.